Joining us right now are the parents of Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller, and they have a statement. I'm going to read it here too. Stu Scheller Sr. and Kathy Scheller, both of you, welcome to the program. And I have to say, first off, thank you for speaking out. Thank your family for what you're doing, and God bless your son for his duty and his service to this country and for his voice. I know it's not easy. I know it's hard as parents watching this, but sometimes, if not us, who, and if not now, then when? Thank you so much. And let me ask you, how are you both holding up? How are you all?
Well, we just heard that the military on Tuesday was going to work with our son and try to come up with an arrangement.
A settlement, separation.
And as of today, they've decided to bring down the full force of the military to try to never let him out.
We just heard this from Representative from Texas, Louis Gohmert. So the roller coaster continues. Last night, we were encouraged. We told Americans that we were encouraged, but to keep up the pressure on their congressman and keep praying. But just now I got off the phone with Representative Louis Gohmert, who said that there has been in the last day or the last hours a change of heart from the Secretary of Navy and the generals of the Marine Corps that they want to crush our son.
Wow.
And they do not have the same rules in the military court as we do in regular court. They do not have to let us see him. They do not have to let us speak to him. They do not have to do regular due process.
They do not have to let him bring in character witnesses. The judge, the general of Camp Lejeune presides over the judge. The judge chooses the jury.
And he's not to have witnesses.
It needs reform, and I'm not an expert on the military judicial system. I'm an expert on my son.
He did a Facebook post.
Yeah.
He didn't kill anyone.
He didn't sexually molest anyone.
And that's been one of the biggest points with this. And what you just told me astounds me. We're talking to Stu Scheller Sr. and Kathy Scheller, parents of Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller, who is in the brig because he spoke out and criticized the military leadership and the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal that led to the deaths of 13 servicemen. And that what you just told me, that they're going to bring down the full force on him, that seems just the most horrible strategy possible, because it's why would they not see the value in a lighter penalty as opposed to, because honestly, this makes his cause it makes him a martyr with this. And his criticism was correct.
They need a scapegoat for their obvious mistakes. They're arrogant, they're mean, they play nasty, and it's an outrage. And
they want to make sure that no other military person speaks out by making an example of our son. I believe that's the core of it.
So at the end of the day, we have to ask. So we have gained traction in the last 5 days since we've asked Americans to find their voice and step up. It's Friday. I'm asking Americans, this could be an ultramarathon. Please continue. Contact your Congress people. Continue the pressure. It's not just for Stuart. It's for America. It's for you. It's for your family. We're fighting for liberty and justice for all.
Yes, and this is and I can tell, having this. You're justifiably and understandably upset about all of this. Talking to the Schellers, the parents of Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller. Talk to me a little bit about your son. He wasn't he was not at the very top, but he was in the top in terms of leadership, and he had people he was responsible for, people who he wanted to make sure got home alive. How did he feel about that? What has he said to you about that responsibility?
He had many deployments, and his deployments were not on a base. They were in the sand. They were out doing missions. He was leading his men and women, I think mainly men. He had many different responsibilities. He's a good person, and he
believes in America. He believes in the Constitution. He did this to preserve and protect his men and women that are currently serving and the ones that are veterans. He is still on the battlefield. He is still fighting.
In a different way. Yes.
His fight for him, and we have to fight for justice. We have to fight for all of those men and women that wore that uniform proudly.
Yes.
And we're leaving tomorrow morning to head to North Carolina. And we do not want any kind of rioting. We want peacefulness, but we want people to write their congressperson and their representative. And we would like people to show up at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and let them just see how many people are saying, let him go.
His legal counsel has asked for an open hearing. You would think that would be fair, or at least to have his parents at his trial. Representative Louis Gohmert, who has stepped up in this process the last few days, I was just on the phone with him, and he has committed to try to get Kathy and I into the proceedings. Yes. I hope he's successful. We'd like to see our son.
And we do not want rioting. We do not want violence. We want a peace, Martin Luther King style, peaceful love. We just want them to see our show of force.
Now, your son, we're talking to the Schellers, their son, Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller, who is in the brig. He's been incarcerated by USMC. You released a statement saying that the command seems to be concerned, but they don't have the tools to support him at this time. Incarceration appears to be their only solution. And you said in 30 days, our son went from being an exemplary Marine, handpicked by the Corps and placed in a highly prestigious position as the commander of the Advanced Infantry Training Battalion, to a Marine who is now incarcerated for demanding accountability and integrity from military leadership. You clearly see that there's a double standard in how your son is treated and military leadership, especially in the wake of the 13 service members' deaths.
Yes.
No question.
Hypocrisy.
We don't just see it. We have received tens of thousands of emails, text messages, phone calls. America sees it.
And those same generals that did that are in charge of our son's life.
That's
keep that in mind.
Yes.
How would you feel if that was your son, America? He
Exactly.
is your son. He is your patriot. He is your hero. Stand up for him, please.
And I love your remark there. How would you feel if that's your son? He is your son. And all of these servicemen and women, it's everyone's son, it's everyone's daughter, it's everyone's father, mother, sister, brother. And this is, did you ever think, I mean, when this all first happened, oh goodness, and I know it's been a roller coaster for you all, and God love you all for speaking out and being such advocates, but your parents, that's what you do. You're advocates, and not just for your son, but also for what he is advocating for as well. When all of this first began, did you think that there could be the possibility that they would just come at him with the full force of military jurisprudence? I mean, what were your thoughts?
You know, we aren't military. I mean, he's in the military. We have learned from the military from him as the ranks have gone on. We have supported him and his family throughout all of their deployments. No. I mean,
we were worried for him. We were scared. We saw him throw everything away to stand on principle.
We thought he would lose his retirement. We thought he would lose his benefits and be discharged.
And as a parent, we didn't want to see that.
Right.
But no, until we got a phone call Monday morning, his only contact with us, and it was a 90-minute, 2-minute phone call, and he had two comments. One, call my attorney. And we did, and his second was, tell everyone. So
I think he met everyone in our family, but I went a little further than that.
We went a little further. We decided that America and our allies around the world needed to see this and understand it. And so there will be lessons learned, and this will be talked about for decades to come.
But that's not helping us.
But that's not helping us today.
Son, his family, it's not helping.
So people can write their elected officials, and I know that you're also working with the Pipehitters Foundation as well.
Write or call
your elected officials. And the Pipehitters Foundation, I know that because this, unfortunately, it's a legal fight that will be expensive. This is going to be expensive.
Very, very.
And I will tell you, I want to remind Americans, because I was going on with my life. I tend to not engage with politics, right? I'm now in it, and I'm reminded that we all have a chance to vote in 2022. So contact your congressman. And this is no time for fence sitting. Are you for Lieutenant Colonel Scheller or are you not? We need to know, because if you're not, we will vote our conscience in 2022. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. This is a travesty.
It's an injustice.
Reform will need to be made in the future. Right now, we're focused on our son.
And your son seems to be the avatar, so to speak, for demanding military accountability in the upper echelon in leadership. Because as I'm sure you've heard it from so many people, including some pretty well-known veterans who maybe aren't as public about it, but they have definitely said stuff in their public circles, very critical of military leadership with this, and also with the leadership, whether it's Lloyd Austin or Mark Milley or McKenzie at CENTCOM, their refusal to really push back on the president, especially when all of this led up to the disaster and the fatalities that we saw in Afghanistan. Your son is now kind of the poster American for that. He really is. He is the poster serviceman for that.
And I want to remind America, our president could stop this right now.
Has he reached out? Has he reached out to you? Have you heard from anyone in the White House?
No. And our president, with one word, could end this.
Have you heard from anyone? Not to interrupt you. I'm so sorry. Have you heard from anyone at CENTCOM or any military leadership above your son?
We have had no communication with anyone from the Marines. No one has placed a call down.
Early on, we heard from his commanding officer and pretty much was told, we got this. He's our Marine.
Stand back, parents.
Just like they told those 13 servicemen and women
Correct.
that were there in Kabul. I want to direct everyone to the website to make sure that they can go. It's the Pipe Hitter Foundation. It's donorbox.org, and you can look for Lieutenant Colonel Scheller up there, and we'll make sure that y'all get that information out as well. Stu Sr. and Kathy Scheller, God bless you both. And I can read it on your faces. I can hear it in your voice. I know how this is really putting you through it. But I can also see that you're such strong, resilient folks, and you've raised such a great son. And you got a lot of Americans that have your six as well. A lot of people have your six.
We are proud of our son. We are proud of America. And we just want to say thank you.
Of course. Well, thank you. We owe you a debt of gratitude. Thank you. And we're going to keep in touch with you. Please keep us updated about this. And we're going to watch as well and do what we can. God bless you both. We're all in it together. Thank you so much.